You know about sales, you know about marketing, you know everything about social media, but you probably heard the word PR thrown around and you might be thinking, is that for me? Is that only for big brands? Is that a press release? Well, in today's video, I'm going to walk you through what exactly PR means for your business and what every founder, marketing team, or product-based brand needs to be doing before they actually start answering those quoted requests or start sending press releases into the void. If you are new here, my name is Bridget Aileen Cisco. I'm the co-founder of Visibility on Purpose, and we help small business owners, founders, and product brands get featured in the media without paying for a publicist. Together with my business partner, Lydia Bagarosa, who's been a publicist for a decade, we really just peel back the curtain of what you need to know as a brand and as a founder to really get your brand out there, but without paying an arm and a leg. And what we found is that many small business owners or startup brands really do not have the budget for a PR agency or a publicist just yet. So we're basically training you on how to do this, whether you outsource down the line or whether you hire a team member to do this for yourself. We're going glasses off. Let's start with what PR is and kind of reframing it. So you might think that PR means getting your name in a magazine or getting your brand featured on a podcast or a TV interview, but it's really about how the people perceive your brand, how the public perceives your brand. And you have this ability as a founder to really help shape your brand's narrative, because it's one thing for you to talk about your brand on your social channels or on your website. That's, of course, awesome. But it's a whole other thing when other people are talking about what you do, why you do it, your story, and a little bit of what makes your brand different and unique. Another thing to be thinking about is what happens when someone Googles you. When someone types in your name as the founder or your brand's name or a keyword related to your industry or niche, what comes up, what populates? Of course, we want your website and your socials. That's what we'd call owned media. But what about earned media, where other platforms that are highly respected, like Forbes, Business Insider, MindBody Green, Well and Good, are actually talking about your brand as well? So what we recommend before you go out there answering HARO requests or answering quoted responses, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've done many videos on different PR platforms that can be extremely helpful and we love them, but you need to be doing a couple things before you get there. So pause right there if you have already done that and make sure that you watch this video. What you need first and foremost is to really understand your brand story. Having a clear brand story is going to be what also connects you to potential customers and clients and people that are just interested in your work. And this really does need to be something that is cohesive and nailed down. That way, when you get on an interview, whether it's TV or podcast, it's very clear the way that you shape your brand's narrative and tell that story, right? If you think about big brands like Siete Foods, we'll take that for example, right? They're a family-owned and run business. Of course, they've sold it for a lot of money, which is freaking epic, but they really leaned on that story of this is a small family business, and we think it's in the heart of Texas that we started this small family business, and everyone recognizes that Siete Foods with family, right? So those kind of values go hand in hand. Now you need to be shaping and thinking about your brand's story and your brand's narrative. How did you get started? Why are you doing this work? What makes what you're doing different? Maybe there's a similar company in your marketplace, but you just change up one little thing. And I was actually listening to a great episode on my favorite podcast, My First Million, and it was the guy who, I don't know his name, and it was the guy who really was the brains behind brands like Ollie Vitamins and Method Soap. And basically what he did is he went into the stores, went into the aisles, and realized, hey, everyone makes vitamins in circle containers. We're going to do it square. So just what is that one little thing that you can change up about your brand that makes it recognizable, that makes it different? And that is part of your brand story. So that's really one thing that you need before ever going to the media. You're not going to be able to write a good pitch without this good story either. Also, we want to make sure that our digital real estate is owned and in our name. So what I mean by that is Google My Business, having that Google profile, all of your social channels, your website, all of these things are professional and cohesive related to your brand. What about visual assets? So a lot of times if you are a product brand and you are looking to get coverage in holiday gift guides, is a big time of year when product brands love to get in those listicles where it says, 10 things to get your grandma this holiday season. Well, you need to have some great quality photos of your products. So we wouldn't recommend reaching out to the media if you have never done that. So have good brand photos, either if you're a founder-facing company of yourself, if you're product-facing, definitely of your products. If these things aren't in place, it just makes doing the PR efforts a little bit backwards. So have these assets in place, and then we move into step two. And I think that this is the most overlooked thing with platforms like HARO, Qwoted, Source of Sources, and Featured, which again, I've done many videos on and we love them and they're great. But you don't want to just be going there having no strategy in mind. Honestly, one of the things that we started doing this year was sitting down with business owners and saying, hey, tell us about your business, and we're going to give you a little PR plan. It's very affordable, so you can find more information in the description of this video. Because we found that a lot of business owners were like, I know I need press. I know I want my brand's name in the media, but they don't really know where to start or what would be the best avenue for them, right? So, should they just be answering things on HARO every single day and skimming through those emails, or should they be doing more of an organic outreach strategy? Are podcasts better for them? Or maybe they really want to focus on holiday gift guides. So you need to have a strategy going into your PR efforts. So whether you're a founder, whether you're a marketing team member and you're watching this video, strategy matters, just like anything. You're going to basically create a campaign for your brand. So what are some things to think about? There's really no one size fits all, right? If you are a product brand, a new product company looking to get on retail shelves, or maybe you already have landed some of those deals with some major retailers, you want to be thinking about maybe some gift guides, maybe affiliate platforms are going to be huge for you. You really need to get on those. So again, watch our videos or reach out to us if you need more insight on that, as well as reaching out to lifestyle editors. We're going to write about products where if you're a service provider, say that you are a physical therapist or you are a nutritionist, you might want to be thinking about podcasts. You might want to be thinking about magazines, but more from the perspective of I'm an expert on this topic. A writer needs a source for a nutritionist article in Fit and Well. Well, then you can be that. So podcasts, TV, that expert coverage, that can be your strategy. Whereas maybe a local business is going to really want to be reaching out to local influencers and doing partnerships that way, maybe getting in some local media channels. So it really does depend on your specific business, and there's not a one size fits all approach to PR here. But this is why before you go to those amazing PR platforms that we know and love, I want you to be thinking about what makes the most sense for my business. What is my goal here? What do I want to happen? Because if you're just throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks, you might get some press, but it's going to be really random and really scattered. And at the end of the day, maybe a year down the line, you're going to be like, why did I do that? That actually makes no sense for the direction I'm looking to go. That's not what I want my brand to be known for. And this is where having that strategy piece really comes in. So we like to blend a mixture of organic outreach where you're going to actually send a pitch mixed with answering queries on those top PR platforms. Because one of the things that we have found is that those PR platforms, if your business is doing something revolutionary, very different, not talked about regularly, if you have like a new idea, you're not necessarily going to see writers asking about that. So there's not going to be a place for coverage for you. And that's really where the organic outreach is going to have to come in. An example of this is we had someone actually watch one of these YouTube videos. They have a design company that brings natural elements of nature into homes. And I forget what it's even called because it's very new and different and not being done. So if they're going unquoted, they're probably not going to see journalists requesting subject matter experts for that topic because it's just not being written about yet. And that's where you really need an organic outreach strategy. You need a great pitch where you can begin building relationships with the writers at different publications and magazines. So strategy is really important. Now, what really moves the needle in the PR world? Number one is going to be positioning, right? So how are you positioned in your marketplace? What is your differentiator? Why should someone want to know more about what you're doing or about your brand? So positioning is crucial here. What makes your brand unique, interesting, relevant, newsworthy, and timely? What about relationships as well? So are you building those relationships with editors and with journalists? I wouldn't just recommend using PR platforms like HARO and Qwoted when you also need to be building relationships because that writer is likely to then come back to you and your brand if, hey, we're a great source for them and if they're writing a similar topic. So building relationships, just like everything in business, does matter. And then consistency. So we like to say if you are doing this and you don't have the budget for a publicist, you don't have the budget for an agency, set aside 2 hours a week to start and just make it consistent. So you're going to be implementing your campaign for 2 hours a week, you can definitely do that. And if you need more help on that, you can click the link in the description of this video below and see the ways that we can personally help you and just give you a little bit of a guidance on your strategy, because that is what we see most business owners just need help with naturally. Sometimes you just need someone else's eyes on what you're doing. And then you have a great conversation with a friend or a colleague or a mentor, and you're like, oh, thank you. Now, last but not least here, using PR platforms. So I mentioned these before, HARO, Qwoted, Featured, etc. We love these platforms. Literally, they are incredible, and we use them very regularly for ourselves and for our clients. And at the same time, if you don't have a clear PR strategy first, you're going to waste time answering random queries because you're not going to know what you want to be known for. So having the strategy first is going to be really helpful here. So you might land some quotes or get some backlinks, but if it's not going to relate to your big overall story that you want to be known for and the narrative that you're looking to build for your brand, it doesn't really make sense. You're going to waste a lot of time because it takes time to sift through these queries. And we always joke like, you might want a separate inbox because gosh, you're going to get a lot of emails. So before diving into those platforms, have a strategy, know your story, know what you want press for, know your audience, and know your goals. And again, if you're sitting here being like, where do I even start? We have personalized PR strategy plans for your brand. You're going to basically tell us everything about your brand, what you're doing, what you're looking for coverage for, and we're going to give you a personalized pitch, outlets that we would pitch to and podcast if we were your publicist. And we're going to tell you exactly the strategy that we would use. And now we're adding in a 6-part series on how to research contacts, because that's what we found. You have the pitch, but you don't actually know who to bring it to or how to contact the right person. So if you've been wondering where to start with PR, this is it. I hope that this has been a helpful, just inside look into how a publicist or a PR team would think about your brand, right? They're going to want your story. They're going to want good headshots. They're going to want all your digital real estate to be out there on the internet. They're going to want to know your goals. And then from there, they're going to work backwards. So you are basically building your own PR campaign. You have control of your brand's narrative. It's a really cool thing to know how to do this. And as a reminder, you don't need to be a celebrity. You don't need to be a Fortune 500 company to get press or to get mentioned in the media. You don't. If you have found this helpful today, make sure to hit subscribe, comment, share this with a friend. We are really so committed to building this YouTube channel. So thank you for being here with us, and we'll see you again next week.